For this part of the module, we're now going to create our floor plan based on these dimensions for our building. So the first thing I want to do is to create the center lines. So I will first create a horizontal line, roughly 15,000 millimeter in length. And I will also create a vertical line of the same length of 15,000. This one are going to be my center line, so I'm going to offset them at distances of 3,500 and 4,000. This one will now act as my center lines, and I'm going to place now my columns with a dimension of 300 by 300. Again, inference, so that I don't have to type again that dimension. Oops. Inference. Then closing that column. I will place a diagonal line so that I can select the center of my column. I can copy. Then selecting now the midpoint of that diagonal line. And I can paste it on the center or intersection of my center lines. The next thing we're going to place are my walls. There are several ways of creating your wall. One is by drawing the rough dimension of your wall, and you can now move it into position. Let's say I want it centered, so I select the midpoint and placing it on center. Or you can also use offset. You create the line, then you offset it at both sides, offset 75 to achieve 150 on both sides. Then you have that offset option. Then you can delete now that center line. You can copy any created wall, then rotate it, move, and stretch that wall to allow it to fit in between your columns. I can also use mirroring it to the other side. Or copy and pasting it using a base point. So those are several techniques that you can utilize for placing your walls. I will repeat it along the horizontal. In this location. I can also, let's say, transfer the location of my column. Let's say this one is set back by a distance of 1 meter or 1,000 millimeter. Then I can simply readjust my wall by stretching it. You can also use the rectangle command or R for creating your walls. I will now place my stairs. Let's say I have a stair whose dimension is 1,000 by 1,000. This one will be the dimension of my landing. Then the stair dimension of 275. Copying that one. Assuming that the height of my floor-to-floor level is 3 meters. I'm going now to check as to the number of steps required. So assuming that we have 15 steps at point 2 rise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So there's a little bit of an excess in there. I'll reduce that. I can flash my stairs along my wall if I wish to do so. Move. Then using the trim command, I will trim this excess line in here. And I can now have my stairway. I can simply slightly adjust my center line by moving it. Then I can place now my circle. So for this example, let's say we're going to have a radius of 500. I can now move it using now my line. If I wish to be more exact, I can also activate the quadrants in my snap setting, so that if I select now my object, I can use the quadrant as my base point. I can copy it now and place it at other locations. I will also create another center line option for this column in inference for that location. In case there is, of course, overlap in your indicators for your grid reference, you can create a diagonal line, and you can actually set back your line. Layers is used in Autocad to control the proper thickness and management of your objects. To do that, we can type in the command LA to access your Layer Properties Manager. Or you can click on your Layer Properties icon. And by default, all objects in Autocad are made in Layer 0. To create a new layer, you can simply right-click on Layer 0, choose New Layer, type in the name of your layer, let's say column, then create again a new layer, type in the command, let's say wall, enter, then new layer, type in the name, text, then new layer, type in the name border, enter, new layer, dimension, enter, new layer, hatch, new layer, furniture, new layer, thin line. Thick line, new layer, medium line. New layer, center line. Then new layer, dash line. Based on your entities, we are now going to set the colors. So for thick layers, we're going to use the green color, and for medium lines, we're going to use 0.25, and for thin lines, we're going to use 0.15. So for our column, I'm going to set this one to green. For my walls, I will set it to yellow. Text, cyan. border, green, dimension, gray, hatch, so use gray, furniture, thin line, red, thick line, green, medium line, yellow, center line, red, dash line, red. That one will now, let's now customize your line weight. So this one will now be the thickness of your lines. So as we indicated in here, we are going to follow this format, although you can have your customized format if you like. So I can set this one to 0.35, yellow 0.25, cyan, set this one to 0.35. Then border 0.35, 0.15, double click, 0.15, 0.35, .25, center 0.15. Let's now adjust our line type. Line type indicates what type of line you're going to use. Now most of our lines are going to be continuous except for our dash line and center line. So for our center line, let's load line options. Then we're going to choose the ISO long dash. Then choose OK. For our dash line, let's load a dash option. Let's say we're going to try in hidden line 2 times. OK. Then OK. I'm now going to close my palette, or you can adjust the other items if you like. Now for transparency, this one will allow you to set a much lighter tone for your lines. So for example, for my furniture, I can set my transparency to 50 so that the appearance of my furniture will be a much lighter line as compared to my other lines. Furniture and hatch are set to 50. Okay. You can arrange the hierarchy based on color so that it will segregate all of your items based on that color selection. Close. Let's now assign those layers to our floor plan. There are several ways of assigning layers. One is by selecting your objects. Then, under Layers palette, you choose Column. Or, if you have an existing assigned layer, I can use now the Match command. MA, Enter, click on that object, then assign it to the other objects. Another way of setting your layer is to simply change your layer settings and choose the layer that you desire to place, so that every time you're going now to create a new entity, that entity is automatically set to the layer that you have selected. To check the properties of a layer or which layer an object is assigned to, you can select that object and type in your command PR or properties. A new palette will appear, and under there it defines the properties of that object, from what type of object is that, and the corresponding layer it is assigned to. From there, you can also change which layer that object is going to be assigned. Let us now assign those different layers to our other objects. So choosing our walls, I assign in wall, and I can match it now to the other walls in my drawing. You can also do a mass selection to easily select those layers. So I mass select my center line and assign them to layer center line. Now let's try to check now the dashes for our line. I first create a line, then let's check also for dash line. Upon closer inspection, you will notice that the spacing of those dashes are very small, that it is almost negligible. To see the actual preview, how it will appear on your drawing, we can set our scale or annotation scale to the corresponding scale that it will appear in the floor plan. So for our floor plan, let's choose 1:100. Then we type in the command region, and automatically you will notice that the dashes are adjusted. So you have in here your center line. This one will now be the proper proportion or actual proportion that will appear in your floor plan. If you are not satisfied with the spacing of those dashes, let's go to layer properties and adjust the types of dashes that we're going to use. So for our center line, I will choose another type of dash. Let's use ISO dash dot. Okay. Then, okay. There is no adjustment. Let's choose again another one. This option, center. Okay. Much better. For our hidden line or dash line, the dashes are quite compacted. So let's choose another option. Load. Let's choose dashed. Okay. Then okay. It's quite compact still, so let's choose another one. Dash times 2. Then that one would be a much better fit. So you can actually customize now the type of dashes or hidden lines that you're going to place into your drawing. Let's now place furnitures into our drawing. To do this, we type in the command DC in order to access all of those hidden built-in furnitures in Autocad. Now to be able to access that, make sure that you follow the following hierarchy of folders under Program Files, Autodesk, AutoCAD 2020, Sample, NUS, and Design Center or Dynamic Blocks. You can access the subfolders by clicking on the plus sign. So under Design Center, let's choose Home Space Planner. And I'm going to double click on Blocks. there are furnitures that can be accessed. To access that furniture, you simply click on that furniture and drag it towards your modeling window. Click and drag. Click and drag. Then a dining table set. Other furnitures are also available. So under House Designer, we can access a bathtub, a toilet, and a sink. Other items that we can access is your kitchens. So blocks for our kitchens, a double sink, and a range, together with a refrigerator. Let's now set our furnitures to our layer furniture. So select them all. Then change the layer to furniture. These one are automatically placed to scale into your drawing. If your furniture appears to be much smaller or larger, try to check again your units. Make sure that it is consistent with our units of millimeters. If this one is set to a different value, then the corresponding scale of the furniture will also be set to that scale that was placed into your drawing. So make sure that it is set to millimeters. Let's now arrange our furnitures. Let's say the furniture is going to be placed in our living room at this location. So I can remove now this wall, mirror, set it. Let's say we have a place of a table, the center of your living room. Then I'm going to create my kitchen. Let's say my toilet is going to be located in here, and beside it is going to be my kitchen. Rotate. And now create a partition wall. Type in the distance, let's say 1,600. Move a little bit further, an additional 100. Stretch the walls to fit the layout of your new floor plan. I will now convert this one into a kitchen. So a typical kitchen has a width of 600 millimeter. So 600. Then same is true on the other side of the wall. 600. I can now place my sink and the other items for my kitchen. Toilet, and of course your sink. Select the proper layers. And now you have your floor plan. Now this one, let's create this one as a garage. To access your cars, you type in again the command DC. This time, let's try to use dynamic blocks. Under architectural metric, double click on blocks. Let's choose the vehicle. Click and drag. However, since your vehicle is in side view, I select now the vehicle. Then click on the triangle underneath it. Dynamic blocks have sub options that you can choose from. So let's choose Sport Stop. Okay. Then we can rotate our vehicle. Then place it into our car garage. Let's set it to our proper layer. Let's say we include it for furniture. Then you have now your floor plan. Let's now apply dash line to our stairwell. So setting our stairwell to our general thin line. We create our brake line. Trim. Join. Then I can now copy. Using that brake line, I'm now going to set that proper dashes. So I select the upper portion and set it to dash line. Match it to other objects. Blocks are entities that behave like clones. The furnitures and vehicles that we have placed in our drawings are examples of block. Now to create your own block, you first draw the entities. So let's say I'm going to create a furniture. I'll set it first to layer 0. PL. I'm going now to create a sala set. And we're going to place a center table. Now we're going to turn this one into a block. To do that, select the objects, type in the word block or the shortcut B, enter. Then you can type the furniture name. So let's say Fernie1. Then specify on screen for the base point. Make sure that you also check to convert to block. Then allow exploding. Then I simply click OK. Then I'm going to choose my insertion base point as being asked under the command line. I'm now going to choose the center. And what you will notice, it turns now into a block. Now in a block, what happens is that the entire entity is selectable only on a single grip point. You can now use that grip point to move the object, similar to your other blocks. Now to edit your block, you can actually edit that one under your edit block command. But to reflect the effect of a block on other entities, let's create now copies of that block. so that you can see the effect of editing one block to other copies of it. So to edit that block, you can select the block, right click on it, and you can choose edit block in place. Then OK. Let's now convert this table to a yin-yang table. I'm going to place a yin-yang symbol. Trim. Then mirror. So you have now a yin-yang table. Then we're going now to go to edit references on the upper right corner. Then save changes. Okay. One thing you will notice is that all of the blocks have also changed to that yin-yang symbol. So that one is the concept of blocks. Let's now try to apply that one in creating doors and windows for our floor plan. Let's now create our own blocks. So for this floor plan, I'm going to create a block for my main entrance. So I create a door jamb, 50, height 150, then 40 to adjust for the groove of the door, 50, 10, locking it to our door jamb. I create now the opening of 1000, mirror my door jamb. Then I create now the swing opening for my door. Then I create the door panel itself. Thickness 50. Then I can now trim the excess of my door jamb. This one is now my door, and I can now convert this one to a block. I create a copy of that door first before turning it into a block for the other types of door. Trim the excess. So for our bedroom door, let's use a door of 800. So I'm going to move my door jamb by 200. Create again a circle. Trim. Then you have now your door for your bedrooms. Another one for our toilet, whose width is 600. So moving again your door jamb by a distance of 200. Trim. Now let's convert these doors into blocks. I select this one, then I type in the command block, D1, specify on screen is check, convert to block, and allow exploding. Okay, I now choose this one as my base point. I repeat the same thing for this door, B, enter, specify on screen, convert to block, and allow to exploding. Oops, I typed the command D2. Okay, choose the center. Block, then D3, then specify on base point. On screen, you can also choose the corner if you like. Okay, so you have your different doors. Let's now place it into our drawing. So just like any entity, you can move the object, you can copy it, and adjust it accordingly. Move it from the column at a distance of 150. Then for our door to the garage, let's place another door in there as an access at a distance of 100 from the column. Then let's put our access towards your toilet. Then 100. You can assign the proper layer. So I'm going to choose thin line. Can match that layer now to my other objects. Now in AutoCAD, you can you try now to create your own layers and try to place additional blocks for your windows so that we can create now our floor plan. Let's say for our Fernie 1 block, we have deleted all copies of it, and we now wish to return or insert again that type of block. To be able to do so, we can type in the command insert, enter, and all of the recent blocks that was placed into your drawing is also accessible. So what you can do is you can simply click on that block and drag it into your modeling window. Hatches. In AutoCAD, hatches are placed to shade your drawing. So let's say we wish to place a shading for our column. I'm going to type in H or hatch, enter. Then there are several options in here. Let's say I want to hatch this one and give it a solid hatch. I choose solid, click on the center, then enter. It will now shade that entire column with the shade of a solid hatch. Now you can choose the proper layer and apply hatch. Another type of hatch that you can apply is for walls. Hatch, enter, and choose the stripe or diagonal pattern. Click on that option, that location or center line, enter. Now if the appearance of the hatch is not visible, you can adjust now your scale. So go to the hatch editor, then type in your scale. There. The hatch is not yet properly spaced, so I adjust again the value, let's say 300. So that one will be your hatch adjustment. Select the layer, hatch. You can also set the hatch for your tileworks. So I type in the command hatch, enter, and let's choose for our square pattern. I adjust the angle, 45, then click it on the spaces along my tile area, then include also under the doorway, enter. Now the spacing is quite tight, so I adjust again the scale, let's say 900 or 1200. Enter. It automatically creates the tiles for your flooring under your toilet. Of course, you can create the lines manually if you like, but if you want to have a faster result, you can use your hatch. Then we again set this one to our proper layer of hatch. Hatches in AutoCAD are just like any other objects in AutoCAD. To be able to edit your hatch, you can select the hatch, type in the command PR, then under associative, you choose no. What happens now is that the grip points for that hatch are going to appear. You can use those grip points to stretch your hatch to your desired location. To have a general preview with regards to the thickness of your lines, you can type in the command LW display. If the LW display is on, you can distinguish the thickness of your layers. However, if you type in off, then the distinction of those thickness of layers is going to be disabled, whereby the thickness of each layer is going to be identical with another layer. Layers in AutoCAD allows you to control the different objects that it is assigned to. For example, let's say we want to disable the visibility of our walls. To do that, you go to your layer palette, and under that wall layer, you click on the light bulb beside it. And by clicking so, you will notice that the walls has disappeared. However, the walls was not deleted, but simply the visibility was controlled. Upon clicking on that light bulb again, the walls will reappear. Another way of doing this is with the use of the command layoff. So I type in the command layoff, enter, then I simply click on the object that I wish to disable. So let's say for the walls, I click on the wall, and the wall is now disabled. I click on the center line. The visibility is also disabled. Same is true with the furniture and other objects in AutoCAD. Now to simply turn on that layer, you can go again to your layer properties, and you can manually click on those layer. However, an alternative would be to type in the command lay on, enter, and automatically all of the other layers will also be turned on. Another way of controlling your layers is with the use of the lock option. Under the lock option, you can restrict the editing or deleting of that certain layer. For example, if you accidentally freeze that layer, one way to disable that is you type in the command layto, and it will remove now the freeze on your layers. Layers also allows you to automatically control the colors of your object. Let's say for our column, I want now to change the color of my column to magenta or purple. By doing so, it automatically adjusts the color of all the columns. Instead of manually changing the color, that color is automatically applied to that layer, and it reflects to the columns in your AutoCAD drawing. Another application is with regards to thickness. If I change the thickness of that column, let's say I change it to 0.45 or 0.50, it will automatically reflect into your drawing. To simply undo, let's go back with our command of Control Z.